Yeah, my name is Mark Rogers. I'm producer of Maximo vs. the Army of Zin.
And my name is Scott Rogers, and I'm the lead game designer for Maximo vs. the Army of Zin.
To understand the game, you have to understand the storyline and what is actually the Army of Zin. 500 years in Maximo's past, the Army of Zin appeared and came across mankind. They ensued a series of great battles where mankind was fought back, but eventually rallied their troops and defeated the Zin. But because the Zin are mechanical creatures, mechanical undead, driven by compressed soul stones of dead people, they were unable to be totally destroyed. So mankind basically locked them away in a vault for all time. And there they basically tick away the millennia, just waiting to be released. Fast forward about 500 years, and Maximo is still searching for his lost love after the first game. He comes across a clockwork creature, a clockwork monster, and then the story basically develops from there. The story itself evolves. It's kind of like a mystery, and this is one thing we wanted to do with the sequel of the game, as opposed to the first one, which you understood most of what was happening after the first sequence in the game. This one, it evolves over time. So here we're coming up to one of the first areas. As you can see more of Maximo's face, more of Maximo's emotions, and this is where the Army of Zin start to appear in. These are called Reapers. These are kind of the foot soldiers of the Army of Zin. The combat in Maximo versus the Army of Zin is more broad than in the original product. There's a lot more moves that you can actually perform. In the end of Maximo 1, with all his power-ups and everything, Maximo actually didn't have as many moves as he has just by default in the beginning of this game. So the combat is one thing that we really wanted to evolve in the second product. Coming up to another foot soldier. This is a different type of foot soldier. Also, Maximo can actually juggle as well. This is another thing we wanted to put in the game.
He has a greater depth of moves that he has from the first game. As a matter of fact, he probably starts the game with about as many moves as you ended Maximo Goes to Glory with. And we wanted to reflect that there was a passage of time, because since about 8 months takes place between the first game and the second, we wanted to show that the character is more mature, that he has new moves to reflect that maturity. So you'll notice in the look of the game, in the play of the game, that things have evolved.
Yeah. Keep going.
So here we're going to be coming up on an area that's new to Maximo versus the Army of Zin, which is a battle arena. Maximo will get to these places that are a bit of a bottleneck, and his way is blocked by, in this case, a lot of Zin Reapers. And so it's just an area where the player can really start to enjoy using these brand new combo moves that he has learned or is starting to learn in the game. Also, in the course of the game, you'll be able to buy and buy new weapons, buy new moves in order to grow. So there's over 30 or so of these types of moves and items that you can get to help Maximo through the game, which makes it a lot, just so much more to do in this one than there was in the previous.
Yeah, with Maximo, the types of enemies that he came up against were zombies and skeletons. And we're not the only game to actually ever have zombies and skeletons, especially for Capcom. It's kind of like a stock in trade for Capcom to have a zombie come out at you. For this product, we actually wanted something that was unique to Maximo, that when someone actually saw the enemy, they thought, oh, right, that is an enemy from Maximo. So that is also another reason why we came up with the Army of Zin. It's kind of a unique concept, clockwork undead, driven by these compressed soul stones. And when you defeat them, the soul is released and you can collect them. And that does various things. You can it allows you to be powered up. It allows you to be able to throw your shield, which is now you don't lose. In the first game, you actually could lose your shield.
But the biggest improvement is that you can become Grim, who is Maximo's buddy from the first game. Grim has a whole host of moves that he can do, and since he is the Grim Reaper, he's the equivalent of a playable smart bomb. So when things get a little too tough for the player, you can turn into Grim and really kick butt.